Hello everyone, my name is Alex Gomez, and on today's video we're gonna be sculpting this zombie girl concept that is original from Vutkar. I really want to appreciate and thank him for allowing me to use this design for this 3D model. Check out his profile, it's really amazing, it's really inspirational. He's one of my influences, and yeah, so give it a follow and let's get started. Okay, so now we're gonna start with the sphere. I always start with the sphere. I'm gonna kind of like start chipping out the head, kind of like make it proportionate. In this case, I'm not gonna worry about too much like how it's gonna be like the mouth and all the stuff because it's a zombie. So we're just gonna concentrate just on proportions for the starting. And as I always say, after you have like a kind of like a rough shape, I'm gonna start kind of like not creating some details but blocking out where the eyes are gonna be, also like the cheekbones and the nostril. But in this case we're not gonna have a nostril. In this case we're just going to have a nostril, but as a skeleton. So what I did here, I kind of like mask the part that we're not gonna see, or that the get or the design is lacking the skin. So I just mask it out and I just move it inside. And after moving it inside, I just created a new tool, a sphere. I dynamesh it and I start with the process of creating the skull. And at the skull, I just didn't use any references for the skull in this case. I just kind of like went right straight with what I have or what I was seeing in the concept. So I did the upper part of the skull first, and then started building the teeth. In the design, like it has like way more teeth, but I just decided to just add a few teeth, not too many. I think it will make the character a little bit funner, or maybe I didn't want to put as many teeth as I should, but I still think it looks cute. So anyways, so I just did the teeth just from a cube. I dynamesh it, add some detail to it, and did one side, and then when that side was ready, I just duplicated, and not duplicated, I went to C plugin and I mirrored. And then after having like that part of the teeth below, I just mirrored in the y-axis and did the bottom teeth. So I did the same process for the jaw. The jawbone was almost the same thing as I did, like I just with the sphere, I append the sphere and I just build it from scratch, the jaw. And then some details, dynamesh it, and I just work with a really low resolution. At that time, I think it was like 256 or around 512 at the most, just for this case. I started kind of like to tweak a little bit more that part of the skull, and also our neck. As we can see here, our it doesn't start looking as good. It looks pretty scary, but in the process, that's how always gonna look. Any sculpt that you're gonna do in the beginning is gonna look, it's not gonna look right. It's gonna look kind of like creepy or deformed, or who knows how you say that, but it's never gonna look right until you start like getting more into the primary details, I would say, and you're gonna start noticing some difference from your rough block out of the parts of your character. So I added the eyes, and in the eyes kind of like I went with a sphere and I kind of like make it an oval, just to make that the same kind of eyes that was in the design. So this process was pretty simple. I just did it, and it's kind of like the same process that I do when I do the eyes. I duplicated it, I did the eyelids for that case as well. And now I started putting some poly paint, but just for the colors, just kind of like to have a little bit of a better sense of how the character is going to look. I think if I always work on gray, that's for me, that's just my case. I don't think that I had like not a good understanding, but I like to I find it funner, to be honest. I just find it funner to start adding colors to it than just sculpt straight gray or straight whatever material or the default material that you guys have in Zbrush. So I always that color because I think it just brings a little bit fun at your work. The same when I'm working in production. If I'm modeling something, I just start adding colors just to have like a better representation of what I'm doing. I think that colors add a lot, and it adds a little bit of your process. Then I move to the eyebrows and then to the eyelashes, and using the same method. I just mask, extract, and then I series mesh and start like tweaking and moving and polishing the shapes of it, and add some color as well. So this process was pretty fun. It took me around 2 hours and a half maybe to do the sculpt, and I really enjoy it. It kind of like took me a little bit longer to do the textures and the lighting setup, but having it, so I noticed sometimes that my proportions were not that right. So what I did, I just merged all of my tools, but make sure that you always take Dynamesh first, like take it off or turn it off, deactivate it, and merge all your subtools and start working in that proportion, like overall with the move tool, because I saw that my proportions were not looking that properly. After moving into the sweater was a little simpler piece of the puzzle, not the puzzle, but of the character. Definitely start like giving more a little bit more details into the lower neck, and kind of like set it up where the border of the neck collar was going to be. So in this one I kind of like turn off symmetry, and I started adding the arms, and then I just duplicate the upper arm and the forearm to make the forearm. I turn it around, I rotate it, and kind of like give it a shape. So I didn't create like a new one, I just was the same part of that subtool that I was using. And then the hand. And the hand was kind of like a little bit like a hard to do, because I didn't see like in the design the other side of the hand, but I think that I managed well to do it. And always, as you have seen me in other videos, I block out the fingers, and I block out like the palm, the base of the hand, and then I block out the fingers, and so on, like like all the 4 fingers I duplicate the same one. I just scale it up and down depending on the size of the finger that you're working on. Okay. And after having this process done, I move into I was trying to do something here that it didn't work out that good, and I just decided to kind of split everything. I just polygroup it. And there is a way to polygroup by select, no, not polygroup by selected, but mask more than different groups at the same time, but I couldn't get that right. So what I did was just split it and polygroup it independently, and so on. So sorry about that, but yeah, I just there's some stuff in Zbrush and in my that I don't know, and I'm still learning. Like just because I just put like a video on YouTube and stuff, it's not like oh, you're a master or anything like that. No, I'm just sharing my learning process as well, and in the meantime, if I can teach you guys something or one thing or two, like I might as well, why not? So that's one of the reasons that I do. I want that I share my process, and I do a weekly process, because I really want to improve myself as an artist, and at the same time I want to share with you guys my process and where I'm failing to, and how can I overcome those challenges, so it can help you guys as well how to overcome some of those challenges as well. So after having the blockout of the hand, I definitely started adding some details to the hand, kind of like some sharp lines, like that you can see in the original design. and I just use the pinch tool. Like a lot of people have asked me where to find those brushes, and you can find them for free at Channels and Character Design 3 Character Workshop. And I don't have any affiliation with him or anything like that. I just I saw someone that was using those brushes, and I don't know, it was on YouTube, but they told me about it, and I download them, and they're free. You just have to sign up for their newsletter, and you will get the brushes for free. I think that they're pretty amazing, and if you're like me into stylized characters, definitely these brushes are gonna help you a lot. So as you can see, I started then like combine my subtools from the sweater or the upper body, and then Dynamesh all together and work on some of the details. I started adding some colors with poly paint just to make a little bit nicer my process. Even though sometimes, most of the time I finish my textures in Substance Painter, I think that it's a good thing that you can add some color to your sculpt, so you have a better sense where your things are going. Then I moved to working on the cell phone, and I just create just like a standard cube for that one, and just scale it the proper size. Then with some cylinders, those ones are like a bevel cylinders, I did a part of the neck that is those bones of the neck. So that was a really pretty fun part to do, and I just duplicated and then I mask the neck, and I try to kind of like move the skin inside, and then I kind of like inflate a little bit that part of the edge of that skin, so it doesn't look like that sharp, but it still looks like it's sticking out a little bit. And this one was one of the techniques that I learned in this process. I'm gonna share with you in a bit. That is when you make a mask and you delete that part of the mask, and then you're gonna get a hole. When you Dynamesh, you're gonna create a surface there. So there is a tool that is curved bridge. In that curved bridge, you can just bridge those two surfaces, and it's gonna keep the hole when you Dynamesh. So it's a really good technique that I just found, and I'm definitely gonna be using this technique from now on. So I just tweak a little bit more that part of the skin, and you see, if you kind of like inflate a little bit that part of the skin, it's gonna look much better than what it is right now. And then I definitely started turning symmetry off and started adding some details, like the skin all ripped in the sides and those connections right there. So I just did it like with the simple way of using a curve tool, a curve brush. So I add one, and then I add a little one right now next to that one, and in the other side I just added like 3 of them. But this is just simple, like curved brushes, curved tubes. I just Dynamesh, put them together, and just move them a little bit more. So it just it's nothing like out of ordinary. It's just the same process. I just have the curve, I just put the curve and just move it, and I tweak it a little bit. Like for example, if you see like in the base and in the bottom, and right in the middle of those kind of like skin strings, they're skinner. So I just inflate those parts in the bottom and in the top, and then I smooth out in the middle, so it can like a slim, or it gets that thin feeling around the middle. Then I add some details to the neck, and pretty much I'm kind of like getting happy with the process here. And here for the hair, I'm just gonna I did well, the same with the sphere, and then I did a bent curve with the Gizmo tools. I think it's very useful to do hair and stuff like that. I really love it, and that's one of the techniques that I try, and I'm not having as much as a hard time that I used to have when I used to make hair. So I think I'm kind of like developing my own process and my own techniques for making the hair. But in this case, I know that in the design shows that the head has 2 blocks, so that's what I did, like a right and left. So I moved the head a little bit, the head, kind of to make the shape, and I did the other side, and I used the same technique, the bend curve, that you can, when you activate your gizmo tool, like the move tool, and you go into the gear icon, you can do the bend curve, and you can bend your curve, and then you do upsect or apply, I think it is, so you can tell Zbrush that your shape is ready to go. Then I kind of like, I was trying to do this part as well, to do the bridge curve, and it didn't work out. I don't have any idea why. That was giving me like some weirdness here when I was dynameshing. I don't know, it was kind of like probably like a bug that I was having, but at the end I just decided just to mask that part and just push it in, and I didn't care, because this is just, you know, for representation purposes, just for a quick render, and that's it. I wouldn't do that if I'm working on production. So for the ear is the same. I should make actually like some insert meshes for the ears, because I don't like to do ears all the time, but anyways, I'll do them. It's good practice, so might as well, why not? So I just give it like a quick shape with a clay builder brush, and then with a pinch brush I just give that sharp edge to it, and I add a little bit more work on my neck, and just pull that down a little bit, so it kind of like seems that you know, it's like a sweater, like it's cloth, you know. It's when things crashes like that, you go like all the way straight, it can kind of like, it doesn't look that right. So it's really cool if you guys, for example, if that's the part of the sweater, you make the hole, and you're gonna find that in those little details are gonna make a big difference. I didn't do it for the hand though, because I won't see it. I'm not gonna see the hand at all, so I decided not to do it. And at the end I just make the nails. So for the nails I just mask it and extract, and then I series measure the nails, and I just give the shape. So in this case, sometimes I use the back face mask when I do the move tool, so I can just pull out like the tip of the nails without having to deform the whole piece of the geometry. I added also a little bit more of poly paint, just a little touches to the end, so I can just finish it up in Substance Painter after. Overall, I was really happy with the result, and I want to thank again Vutkar, sorry, just but to allow me to use this design, and I'm just looking forward to do more of his stuff. And guys, keep practicing a lot, and if you like this video, please subscribe, share, comment, and don't forget to watch my other 2 videos. Like, I really appreciate it, guys, if you subscribe, that you made it until the end of the video. Keep creating, keep sculpting every week. Take care, and see you next Friday. Take care, guys. Bye.